Bonjour and welcome to Random Packet Loss. My name is Kieran Maxey and today we have another casual game between Joel, the one-card wonder, on the left, playing the Foundry, and me on the right, playing Geist. So this is, this is after the new Most Wanted list. This is after 23 seconds came out, so should hopefully be a interesting, show what kind of new decks are coming out of this new stuff. So Joel already, having installed 2 cards already, so is already breaking new ground. So Geist, first click, I install Street Peddler, which is just a fantastic card in Geist. It is just great. And we're going to hostage for a tech trader because you just need those early. They are absolutely imperative. And if you don't see one within like the first 2 turns, you are pretty sad. And yeah, there was first turn, so it's a base test. I kind of felt like that was what he was doing, but short of me drawing the one inside job, which I had in the deck at the time, there was no way Geist was getting in, so yeah. Just let him have it. So this is kind of the Foundry nonsense interacting with ABT, because the Foundry's ability is the first time you res a piece of ice on your each turn, you may search R&D for another copy of that ice and put it in your hand. But and Accelerated Base Test, its ability is look at the top when you score it. You may look at the top 3 cards of R&D, install any ice, and put agendas in the in archive. Put any other cards in archives. The danger being that if those are agendas, you could just give the opponent a load of points. However, with the Foundry, you can install 1 piece of ice, resing at the time. You then may choose to trigger the Foundry to interrupt the accelerated base test thing and shuffle the rest of the cards back into the deck. So that's a good way of safely using accelerated base test with the Foundry without being in danger of throwing agendas away. So here I spy Camwood first click and I saw Global Food, so I go and steal it. This is the great thing about Spy Camwood and Geist. It's that you can so I was like, sorry, pretty lost my train of thought there. It means you can constantly use spy cameras to draw cards and gain credits, and only run R&D when there's an agenda there. It's just great, especially at the late game where there's ice on R&D. You don't want to run through all the time, and each spy camera is giving you 3 credits and a card. It just becomes amazing. So just getting some more money up and draw for Joel. If he wants to keep up this rush game, that can be very strong against Geist. This is Geist's main weakness, is that he can just... It takes him quite a while to set up. So against rush decks, he really struggles, because he just wants... He needs to set up all his tech traders, all of his breakers, all this stuff. Like, you're not really set up until you've drawn through your entire deck, and then are ready to use your first levy. There's 2 levies in the deck. It's kind of the same shell as Brendan's list, which won the Dark Sphere Regional, just with a few tweaks for taste. So that was a Peddler to install a Sports Hopper. This is why Peddler's so great, because I install it, I then pop it, gaining 2 credits and a card, which breaks even with the Sports Hopper, and then I can just use the Sports Hopper to draw more cards later. And gain credits to Tech Trader. The Geist engine is just lovely once it gets going. It's just draw cards, play cards, run every now and then when you need to. It's not dissimilar to playing Noise, I found. I used to play a lot of Noise, and I find Geist feels similar in a way. In the sense that if you're going for a long game, you're playing to set up, you're kind of just basically sort of sitting there just stopping the corp from winning until eventually agendas kind of just bleed out. Of course, you don't have the inevitable win condition of milling them out that Noise does, but with, with you popping spy cameras almost every turn by the end of the game, like agendas just bleed out eventually, and you have a legwork to kind of pressure that, and yeah, it just becomes great. It's very hard to beat a Geist once he's got set up. It's almost impossible, to be honest. Okay, we shall go check that. Oh, and that's a brainstorm. That is a brainstorm. So that has a brain damage subroutine for every card in my hand. But luckily, I have a shiv on the peddler, which means I can actually break it. What we're just discussing here is that because obviously I will draw a card with Geist when I'm using Peddler and Breakers, but the when I break the, it'll still just be set at 6 subroutines because that's how many cards I had in hand when I started. And that was a very good Peddler for me there. That had a shiv, a crowbar, and a spike on it, which meant it was great utility. And if I didn't have that, I would have taken 6 brain damage there. And I would have lost at the end of the game because I would have -1 hand size. So that was lucky. There's just an ash there. I trash it, and I've got lots of cards in hand now. But we click playing things then.
Yeah, let's click ones. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand. That's fine because it means I only have to trash one. If I go...
This is also the nice thing about Geist, is that you draw loads of cards, like you run a server and then you have loads of cards in hand. And then if you do it early clicks, you can just play loads of things, it's great. Of course, it can feel a little bit crappy if you're running like last click or second to last click, and then you have like 9 cards in hand, you have to discard a bunch, but you know what?
I knew that someday I would face parts into
it's still great. Very happy that I just didn't hit that brainstorm. That was... Ever since Brainstorm was announced, I knew that someday I would just faceplant into a brainstorm I wasn't expecting and just lose. Like, it's a very expensive piece of ice and, quite easy to break. If you've got a Mimic out, you're fine. Many things it's fine. But if you don't have a Sentry Breaker when you run into it and you have lots of cards in hand, it can just lose. It could potentially just lose you the game in itself. It's scary. So here I just ran the Jackson, which meant that just to trash it, so that when I spy camera and if I spy camera and see an agenda, Joel could just Jackson to shuffle the deck and stop me from stealing it. But if I trash the Jackson first or make him pop it before that, I will spy camera. So here I inside job R&D, and now my reasoning in my head was that it would stop him from rezzing the ice to use the Foundry ability, but that doesn't actually work because you can still res the ice for inside job, it does nothing. Luckily he didn't choose to res the ice and shuffle R&D with the Foundry, but I guess playing inside job disincentivized him doing it, and it also meant that I wasn't going to face plant into the ice, so maybe it was an okay play, but it wasn't. I realised a second later that it didn't work in the same way I hoped it would. The Foundry does create problems for Spy Camera because obviously the ability means that he can just shuffle R&D if he reses a piece of ice on the Spy Camera run, which is quite easy to do because Geist's not going to run a bunch, so if he just keeps installing ice, he can stop that. And yeah, I'm pretty sure, I don't know the exact rules in terms of searching and not finding anything, but I'm pretty sure that even if you've got no copies left of the ice in your deck, you can still like search for it and fail to search and shuffle your deck. I'm pretty sure you can still do that. Otherwise, you're going to give people game losses for forgetting how many pieces of ice they have in a deck? No. So, but yeah, so that'll prove to be quite good for Joel this game, just for stopping those spy camera runs. So here I'm spy cameraing again. Can't remember if that was an agenda or not. I think it might have been. So we're getting a Corroder down, an actual permanent breaker.
Pallium Blade.
Oh, more permanent breakers.
On here.
Okay, so it looks like I did see an agenda off the top of R&D. But is he going to res and shuffle R&D, is the question. I feel like you probably do as Joel, just... kind of two birds with one stone.
Copy of this bit of ice. If I haven't, and I've looked and shuffled,
So here I think we're discussing the Foundry ability here because he can't... Joel can't remember how many copies of this piece of ice he has in his deck, but we're discussing that he can still search for it and still shuffle his deck even if there isn't another copy.
for nothing, essentially.
I don't know how it works. I don't know if you can, like, say there was a copy in your deck, choose not to find it. I don't know exactly. The rules are really hazy. At the very least, I think
You can search and fail, can't
you can force it.
So yeah, we can see here that if Joel does res that ice, he can search his deck and shuffle the deck. So there's a wall static,
So I'll fire.
and so yeah, he's going to shuffle his deck. Seems entirely reasonable. And will he find it? No, so there's no more copies of War Static in his deck, but that doesn't matter because he still just shuffles his deck so that I won't get that agenda that I saw. Question here is, do I want to pay 2 just to see a random card?
Poor guy.
I was going to play a full guy just to get some money. That's 5 credits from a trash and a card.
No.
And then play 2 cards and, yeah, sorry, pay 2 credits and see nothing. So that's fair enough.
Draw. You'll go.
Nice draw. 1.
Yeah.
So more ways to shuffle. Spycam was looking tough at the moment, but still a good card, even if it's just, you know, a click to install and then trash for 3 credits in a card. That's still better than Easy Mark. Quite substantially better.
One draw.
Fortunately, I've got nothing to trash at the moment, so I do have to click to draw, which is always unhappy as Geist. So yeah, 2 draws.
Run.
So it looks like I'm just trying to force the Jackson here. Just want to get them out of here.
Green level?
Sure. Spike hammer.
Yeah, let's go install Spy Camera last click. Just want to keep that pressure up. I love Spy Camera. I run the full 6 in my deck, and I think I am on like 46 cards at the moment. So some would say that going down to 5 Spy Cameras would be the sensible thing to do. However,
No, not spike.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I just think it's.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
I just think it's really good. I think it's worth it. So there we had a slight problem there where, because I said Spy Camera to install it, he thought I was popping it to see the top. And so he showed me the top card. I just saw an Enigma, and so he just said, okay, look, just shuffle your deck. You know, it's not like I'm surprised. You know, it's not like me seeing an Enigma is really telling me anything.
Not that I'm planning on getting tagged in this deck. No, sure go.
Oh yeah, I did actually see a Scorched Earth off the top of the deck earlier for Spy Camera, so I missed that. So that's important information. And see, I'm going for a tactical Mars bar here. It's an interesting play. I mean, the great thing about the knockoff Lidl Mars bars is that you can use them on your opponent's turn. And in fact, it's often more optimal to use them then, because then you're not wasting time on your own turn. Of course, there were some downsides, such as loss of teeth, or just generally having too much sugar in your life, which can make it harder to play Netrunner, but, you know, I think the positives outweigh the negatives on that one. So just get some more breakers out there. Been a bit slow on these disposable breakers. I guess I trashed a lot of them early off Street Peddlers and all that. It's a shame, because you kind of want to have a bunch of them just so that if and when Joel does go to go for a score or something like that, I can contest it easily. But I suppose all breakers really excel when you're not running often, you're just running when it matters. Because, like, they're really, really good and really efficient, especially with all your trash stuff. But obviously, they're limited. But it does mean that if you only need to get into somewhere once, for example, when they're trying to score, there's very little that can stop you. Especially when you've got the permanent breakers as support. Okay, so I've got 4 cards in hand. So no Scorch for you. And no Efficient Sweet Squeak. Lots of thinking.
Let's go to draw. Yeah.
Because we've got an upgrade in R&D. That's interesting. Unsure what that is at this stage. I guess it could be an Ash on R&D. But it's also quite hard to out-money Geist. As I say, you know, Geist is kind of accelerating towards the late game here, and so Joel kind of really wants to.
Legwork.
Freedom of equality into legwork. Here we go. Yeah, because I think on the previous turn I saw a global food off the top of R&D, and rather than run it and let him shuffle it away, I let it go into HQ, so I could legwork. So yeah, if I hit something here, that could be game. Freedom of equality is a great card, especially in Geist where you have information. And also, with global, it's kind of a good counter to global food, because obviously a lot of these decks try to make it so that they only have to score 3 agendas and you have to score 4. This kind of makes up the extra point for you. So I hit a brainstorm and I just take it to the face, take 3 brain damage, don't care. So I'm just clicking through the itchy, letting the trace fire because I have 2 link, and yeah.
I just want to pay 2 credits to make me pay 1.
So here you go, moment of truth.
So I need some dice because I don't trust myself.
Oh, I'm going for the dice strats. Okay, that's a 6, that's wrong. Brainstorm. Oh, one more chance. Will I get it? And yes, there's the global food. Oh, that was a very good game.
I realised when I saw at the top of the deck.
So yeah, that was a very close game. I believe, if I remember correctly, Joel was running the twins and was planning to twins brainstorm me somehow. So yeah, there's the twins. If that was put on HQ, that would flat out killed me, because
Still do all damage to me, wouldn't you?
yeah, because I would run through the brainstorm, take 3 brain damage, and then by making me go through the brainstorm again, I encounter it again, it gains.
So for example, if I
Oh no, it wouldn't gain more subroutines because I'd have no cards in hand, but it would still have the 3 brain damage subroutines and just kill me. So that was unfortunate. I mean, I could have very easily died to that if I wasn't paying attention. If that twins was on HQ. So yeah, very interesting deck from Joel, the 1-card wonder, right there. But yeah, there's a Scorch. But yeah, I absolutely love this guy's deck. I think it's very strong right now. There's a lot of tweaks you can kind of make to it. or the basic shell, but yeah, it's just terrific fun. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to give it a go. But yeah, so thank you very much, guys. My name is Maxi. This has been Random Packet Loss, and thank you very much for watching.